Good evening, everyone. The time is 6:05 p.m. We will run through our agenda quickly, so our legislative caucus, and then we will begin our meeting immediately following. I will call the meeting to order. Mr. Truesdale will lead our roll call. The invocation this evening will be led by Councilwoman Davis, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led by Vice President Green. For communications this evening, we will recognize the Nativity School basketball team for winning the championship in the inaugural Destry Des Mangus Classic. We will then move to courtesy of the floor, followed by the approval of minutes. We have two sets of minutes that need approval this evening. The first set are the minutes for the legislative session that occurred on July 9th, 2024. And the second set of minutes are for the special legislative session that occurred on July 30th, 2024. We do not have any ordinances for first reading, ordinances for amendment, or ordinances for final passage. We will then move to resolutions. The first resolution for consideration is Resolution 48 of 2024, which we will suspend the rules for discussion. And then vote upon. Resolution 49 of 2024 will move to the Administration Committee. Resolution 50 of 2024 will move to the Parks, Recreation, and Enrichment Committee. Resolution 51 of 2024 will also move to the Parks, Recreation, and Enrichment Committee. Resolution 52 of 2024 will move to the Administration Committee, and Resolution 53 of 2024 will move to the Budget and Finance Committee. Is there any old business for discussion, council members? Okay, seeing and hearing none. Any new business? Okay, Councilman Jones. And I have two notes of new business as well. Anyone else? Okay. And then we will adjourn. So the time is 6:07 p.m. and I will call our legislative session to order. Mr. Truesdale, could you please call the roll?
Ms. Daniels?
Here.
Ms. Davis?
Present.
Ms. Green?
Present.
Mr. Jones?
Here.
Ms. Rose?
Present.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Present.
Ms. Bowers?
Present. Thank you. The invocation this evening will be led by Councilwoman Davis.
Thank you, President Bowers. Can we honor a moment of gratitude for the families who were affected by the tornado touchdown in Harrisburg, and just be thankful that our neighbors and our friends and family, no one got killed or hurt. And let's just hold a moment of silence. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Davis. The Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Vice President Green.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Vice President Green. For communications this evening, we're going to pause to recognize the Nativity School basketball team for winning the championship in the inaugural Destry Des Mangus Classic. Coach Mangus is present this evening. Unfortunately, the basketball players are football players too, and so they have football practice this evening. So they couldn't join us, but we wanted to acknowledge their participation and their victory. So please indulge me for just a moment. City of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, proclamation. Whereas the Harrisburg City Council congratulates the Nativity Boys basketball team for winning the inaugural Des Mangus Classic basketball tournament. And whereas the Nativity Boys basketball team has demonstrated exceptional skill, dedication, and sportsmanship in their recent victory at the tournament hosted on August 10th and 11th at Reservoir Park. And whereas this event was held in honor of Coach Des Mangus, a beloved and influential coach within our community whose legacy of leadership, mentorship, and commitment to youth athletics has inspired countless young athletes. And whereas the Nativity Boys basketball team, through their hard work and teamwork, exemplified the values that Coach Des Mangus stood for, including perseverance, discipline, and community spirit. And whereas their success in this tournament is a testament to their talent and the guidance of their coaches, as well as the support of their family, school, and community. And whereas this victory serves as a shining example of the positive impact of youth sports in our community, and we commend the Nativity Boys basketball team for upholding the highest standards of sportsmanship and excellence. And now, therefore, be it hereby proclaimed that on behalf of Harrisburg City Council, I, Danielle Bowers, do hereby recognize and celebrate the Nativity Boys basketball team for their outstanding achievement in winning the Des Mangus Classic and extends its congratulations to each player, coach, and supporter who contributed to this remarkable accomplishment, and wishes them continued success in all of their future athletic and academic endeavors. Signed and attested in the city of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, Michael J. Parker, City Clerk, Danielle L. Bowers, Harrisburg City Council. Coach, you're present. Did you want to share a few words on the Classic?
Yes, I'd like to thank City Council as a group and your staff for helping out with that event. I was very humbled, that day. So, my family was proud. I was definitely proud. So I just want to thank you guys for putting on a good show. That was nice. And I'd like to thank Nativity and the team Nativity played, those girls. From Driven from Within. Those girls, they play hard. Matter of fact, they had a couple boys on the team, and I thought the boys messed up their team when the girls was on the court. The girls was balling.
It was fun to watch.
Yes, it was
fun to watch.
But thank you. Very humble.
Thank you.
Thanks again.
So we will make sure that the team receives the proclamation. So, okay. Do you want a picture or do you want me to? Okay. Councilman would like to take a picture, so if you wouldn't mind.
Almost as tall as Ralph from there.
And I'm still blocked out.
I'm not dressed for the picture. I'll stand.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We will now move to courtesy of the floor. So just a few housekeeping notes before we begin. If you wouldn't mind stating your name and your address for the meeting record. If you don't feel comfortable sharing your address, please share the vicinity in which you live within the city. You'll have 4 minutes to share your comments. Mr. Truesdale will serve as our timekeeper. I'll begin to my right. Is there anyone that would like to offer public comment? Seeing and hearing no one, anyone in the middle section?
There we go. That on? Okay. Hi, my name is Brandon Basom. I live uptown on 3rd Street. I'm here for 2 reasons. The first one is the reason I'm always here. It's been 2.5 years since we got the cease and desist on State Street and the safety improvements that we were told would be restarted immediately after they redesigned them slightly, and there hasn't been a block paved, nor a single crosswalk put in, nor anything making the kids and people trying to cross it safer going to church, school, multiple schools actually, or Reservoir Park for that matter. So I know we have limited power to do anything about it within council, but I like to bring it up just so it's not a forgotten thing because it's horrible up there. The second thing is the mayor's recent statements about our lack of police and her wanting to bring in backup for our police from the state police as well as the National Guard. I think that the recent incident with the Nazis who came into our city is kind of indicative of the disparity we have in policing just with Harrisburg police. Because I have a friend who, as you know, got pepper sprayed and arrested during a noise complaint. I have friends who got pulled over for traffic violations and have been pepper sprayed and arrested over misunderstandings. But a group of Nazis entered our city, walked through our streets, and they were helped illegally to enter a U-Haul vehicle to leave, and the police just sent them on their way without, I mean, that's illegal by itself. Like, with that kind of disparity within our own police, do we think it's better to have outside state police from rural areas or the National Guard who are, I remind you, military and and when it comes to using their weapons, trained to kill people, not police, into our cities as if our residents are, our enemies? So again, I'm not sure how much power City Council has over that, but I beg you to look into anything we can do to keep that from happening, keep that from expanding. I think further escalation and militarization is not what Harrisburg needs. What we need is giving resources for our community, honestly. So that's all I have. I don't have a magic bullet. I don't have, what we should do to stop the further policing or what we should do to handle when Nazis come through, but it would be really nice if we had a plan to handle that sort of thing, as opposed to just beating up racial justice protesters when we have permits to be at the Capitol. So that's it. I'll see the rest of my time. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the middle section that would like to offer public comment? Okay, seeing and hearing no one, anyone to my left? Seeing and hearing no one, we will move forward with our meeting agenda. Next, we have the approval of minutes. As I mentioned during our legislative caucus, there are 2 sets of minutes for approval. The first set is the minutes for the legislative session that occurred on July 9th, 2024. Council members, are there any revisions to those minutes? Okay. Seeing and hearing none, the minutes for the legislative session of July 9th, 2024 stand approved. The next set in need of approval are the minutes for the special legislative session that occurred on July 30th, 2024. Council members, are there any revisions to those minutes? Okay.
Yes, I have one revision under roll call. My name was spelled incorrectly. It's J-O-C. Well, I know we know how to spell, but J-O-C-E-L-Y. It just was a typo. It had J-A-C. Small.
Okay.
That's okay.
Is there a second?
Jacelyn is still a pretty name. It just, yeah, it's all right.
Is there a second to the motion to make the name correction?
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Mr. Truesdale, could you please call the roll for the motion to correct the minutes? Yes.
Ms. Daniels,
Yes.
Ms. Davis,
Yes.
Ms. Green,
Yes.
Mr. Jones,
Yay.
Ms. Rose,
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Ms. Bowers.
Yes.
The motion passes by a vote of 7-0.
Thank you. The minutes stand corrected. We do not have any ordinances for first reading or ordinances for amendment or ordinances for final passage. We will move to resolutions. The first resolution for consideration this evening is Resolution 48 of 2024. Mr. Truesdale, could you please read it into the record?
Resolution 48, 2024, a resolution ratifying the submission of a grant application to the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development's Greenways, Trails, and Recreation Program for $117,228 for the purpose of constructing a multi-purpose pavilion in Riverfront Park.
Thank you. At this time, I will entertain a motion to suspend the rules for further discussion of the resolution. Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. We're joined by Ms. Rebecca Vollmer, our grants director. I will actually defer to Vice President Green because technically it should be in her committee, Budget and Finance, for discussion.
Thank you, President Bowers. Good evening. If you'd like to just give us a little bit of overview on this application.
Sure. This is on. Yes, thank you so much for putting this on your agenda and considering it.
Can you move the microphone a little closer to you? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're great. Is that better? Okay. So the application is to the DCED Greenways Trails Recreation Program for $117,000 to put a band shell. It's a small one, like the one that we have in Riverfront, in Reservoir Park, in Riverfront Park. And it would be located next to the Civic Club. And there are a couple, you guys know me, I always overshare, but I have a bunch of information that I can share as much or little as you want. The idea is that every summer, the city has to rent some sort of a band shell capacity to the tune of about $21,000 a year, between $17,000 and $21,000. And so we rent this facility so that we can host parties and, mostly concerts. So the idea is if we had our own, we would essentially pay back what the city would contribute to this endeavor within about a year. So the grant ask would be 117, and the city's 15% project cost contribution would be about 18,000. And let's see, so it's very strategically located, the site that was chosen, because it's right where Arts Fest is and Kipona, and it's right next to Civic Club, and they do a lot of events, and they're excited to have something right next door that they could, if they're hosting a wedding, then they could sort of, there'd be a lot of revenue producing opportunities if we had this band shell of our own that we could kind of, rent it out to events that were happening at Civic Club, but also just stop paying rent for stuff that we could actually have on our own. And it's a pretty, nothing is simple, but it's a fairly low profile construction. There's not a lot of ground or earthwork. It would just be one concrete pad, and then we would construct the thing on top. So we're not doing a lot of digging. So that's the project. I can say more, but.
Thank you. I appreciate the overview. Just to be clear, we're ratifying this, so it's already been submitted, correct? So this is
Yes.
kind of just an after-the-fact thing, so.
Yeah.
All right, I don't have any questions at the moment. I'm going to start to my far right with Councilwoman Daniels. Do you have any questions or comments?
Yeah, so it's basically like the band shell that's at Italian Lake.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, I said Reservoir Park, and that's totally wrong. Yes, Italian Lake. So it's about that scale and size.
And then what will the cost be for kind of maintaining it throughout the year?
That's a fantastic question. I don't have an answer for that, but it should be minimal because it's not like there's no aqueducts, there's no kind of plumbing that needs to happen underneath it. But I can get you figures for that, but that I don't know.
Yeah, and is there a reason why we're ratifying rather than like being asked beforehand?
Yep. So the application was due May 31st, and the project kind of came together toward the end of that application period. and we didn't have the resolution on the agenda through the cycle before the application was due. So we submitted, which we often do to DCED actually, and they're very nice about accepting it, a letter in lieu of saying, you know, we can't get the resolution done by May 31st because it's like already May 17th or whatever. Here's what it'll look like, and as soon as council comes back into session, we'll get it to you in the fall. And they've always been good. They've always been very nice about accepting that. In this case, for whatever reason, the CFA meeting in which they will be considering all of these applications has been moved up by a couple months. So it's now happening on September 17th. And the DCED team needs about 2 weeks to go back through all the applications, put everything together, prepare like an application package. So they've told us now they have to have it by August 30, or our application just doesn't go forward this year.
And so they're deciding in September. Do you have a sense of when they're anticipating? Where did you get the amount for the request?
So I worked with Courtney and also with Sasha and Kevin and Parks and Rec, and they came up with the quotes that just determined this amount.
So they would get quotes from, I'm not familiar with this industry, so did they get quotes from bandstand builders or carpenters? I don't know. Who do they?
I mean, surprisingly, those guys and gals and other identifications do exist. So there are like folks who specifically do this kind of work, and so we got 3 quotes, which we're required to do by DCED when we submit a grant application.
Okay. That's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Davis, any questions?
Yes, thank you, Vice President Green. Hi, thanks for being here this evening. Just one question. I'm looking here, it says the balance, of $21,178 the city will pay for out of our special events fund. Is that just a one-time? Okay.
Yeah, we're required to do a 15% match of the total project cost. And Courtney and Sasha have confirmed that we have that in the events fund that can be allocated.
Okay,
for
thank
this
you.
project. Yeah.
Thank you. No further questions for me.
Thank you. President Bowers?
Many of my questions were asked and answered. I just wanted to clarify the ratification timeline and the need for us to vote on this and expedite the vote for tonight. So if you could just clarify that quickly, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
You bet, you bet. So I was told about 2 weeks ago by the person that I work with on this particular grant, his name is Rich Dishman. He said, you know, hey guys, thanks for the letter in lieu of, but we can't wait till the fall when council is back in regular session. So if we can't get them the actual resolution ratification by August 30th, then they won't put our application forward to the CFA board.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Rawls?
Thank you, Vice President Green. Most of my questions have been asked and answered as well. The only additional one that I kind of had was just on the optics of it. I mean, like how it may look. I don't want it to obstruct anything, or, you know, I mean, I know it doesn't have to do a big part with the money and of it, but just to have it there, I'm just trying to be proactive of how it's going to look, how the upkeep too. That's an issue of mine too, because I think sometimes in the city we do have lots of trouble upkeeping things. We put nice things in places, but then the upkeep to me isn't always at the standards it should be. So, is there any photos or what it may be like? Or?
I don't have any now. We could do renderings. I know that part of the size, the idea for the size, it is small. And so I'm just going to read a little bit. One reason that they were looking at the Civic, right next to the Civic Club section, is partly the Civic Club is excited about it. Partly, quite honestly, we're hoping the Civic Club will help us control some of that illegal parking that's going on in their area.
Oh, on the dirt, that's right. Okay.
If we kind of do a little bit, like everybody gives a little. The thought was to put it there and not down like in Shipoke, because we can't sustain something that's that big. Like those music events that come through are national tours, and this is something that's like it's like sort of for families or, you know, a wedding kind of thing.
Yeah.
Nothing like that. So it's meant to be a lower profile. But I don't have renderings for you, and I completely hear you, and also the issue of how do we maintain it.
The upkeep. You know, I don't want it to become an eyesore, but I think it is a great idea with the Civic Center. They have a lot of events. They have a beautiful spot. Their upstairs is absolutely beautiful. So to have weddings and things like that, and then you have this band shell, this small spot where you can hold outdoor concerts or during your wedding, have a dance, like whatever it is. I think it is a great selling point, and we definitely need these types of things in the city with that type of vision. I am concerned about like the upkeep. I'm also concerned about making sure what it looks like. I know the river's right there, so I mean, like, how far away from it is it going to be? You know, any safety issues? Is there going to be railing going? You know what I mean? Because you're bringing everybody outside, and just being proactive in some thoughts with it. It's a great idea. Just small concerns. That's it.
Yeah, no, and I think those are all excellent questions, and it's kind of skirts that line between, is it Parks and Rec, is it facilities, like kind of who in the city is gonna
see, and that's usually what happens. No one takes the claim for who's gonna do the upkeep, and then we have
I do think,
messed up steps or something's not working, and now it's an eyesore and not a place anyone wants to have an event at. So
I do hope, and I think, and I wish Courtney wanted to be here, but she couldn't just because she has childcare. She's home with her child.
Yeah, no, that's all
her husband
right.
works nights, but
maybe you could just get us the answer to them. Maybe I know, well, no, because we might have to August 30th. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you anyway.
No, I'm hoping that being like literally right next door to the Civic Club is going to be very invested in making sure that it doesn't break down and doesn't become an eyesore. And I know that's
true. They could.
Yeah, that's like wishes and promises.
I know,
not an
right? But you're right. If they're going to utilize it, then they should have some type of responsibility. But that's okay. You know, those were just some proactive questions. But thank you. I don't have any more.
Thank you. Councilman Rodriguez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Ms. Vollmer, for joining us. Is there any intergovernmental cooperation with this specific grant? Like, would the county be involved with it at all, or any other entities?
Oh, no, not yet. I mean, there's no reason we couldn't explore that, but at the moment, we don't have something like that.
They just do huge events, so I definitely can see them using the band shell.
Well, and one thing that Courtney said too, sorry to go backwards, they chose the site in particular because it's, and I'm reading here, the designated festival path where Arts Fest, July 4th, and Capona, and 3 other party-hosted events are held. It's the widest portion of Riverfront Park within the designated festival area, which makes it the most ideal for attendees to gather to watch entertainers. There are no stage pavilions within the downtown area, so this would provide a resource for events of all sizes to a growing downtown population. It doesn't get to your question, but so I don't know if we want to or could do something with Dauphin County Parks and Rec, which on its own is a great, yeah, they're really good, great organization. And maybe we would need to have some sort of something with Civic Club.
At the moment, I'd say this is an imagined structure. First, you got to get the grant. I don't know how competitive it is. After that, the council has to set things like rates for renting any facility in the city.
I meant initially, was there any other intergovernmentals a part of the grant with us?
I think there was just a window that opened up.
And just take advantage
and
of it,
I think it's testing the waters. So I'm hoping it's not the police building, which turned out to be much more expensive than the original quote.
Thank you for that. Ms. Vollmer, do you know the seat capacity by chance?
I do not.
Okay.
It would be about the same size, in scale as the one at Italian Lake.
So there'll be benches added, or is this just the shell?
It's just the shell.
Okay, okay.
So we'd have to bring chairs out.
Wood structure still, or concrete?
So it'd be a concrete pad and then a concrete structure over.
So more like reservoir, but the size of Italian Lake?
Yeah.
Gotcha, okay. And then, once that's said and done, we can generate revenue by making a part of a package, a rental package. Yeah, that sounds great.
So that's the hope, and that, again, I'm reading from Courtney's, who's terrific, Courtney's language, we can, well, there's 1,500 residential units downtown, 30,000 employees, 5,000 students at HU. Addition of the pavilion, easily accessible, could facilitate rentals for birthday parties, picnics, special
That would probably
events.
be Dave Baker question, but Neil, that wouldn't be an issue down the line to be able to like add that.
I think it's gonna be subject to what demand and imagination is. I just, right, if people think it's a good thing, you gotta remember Front Street is a state road, so there's limits to what you can't just close a state
Right.
road whenever you want. So there's coordination that happens, but it seems like it fits into what we're already doing on a temporary basis. But if you remember this, we put a stage in the middle of State Street a couple summers ago, and someone literally in the dark ran it over, right? I mean, it was a rental stage that they just ran right through. They ran the barricade, and so, you know, they're sensitive to putting up stages now about how they work.
Thank you.
So,
No further questions, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Councilman Jones.
Yes, my question was similar to that, if there were any projections, but I see now that it would have to come back to us to kind of set prices in the future to see what type of revenue it can potentially bring in. So to be clear, this is not set in stone at this moment, okay? Okay, and then my other question would be, any security measures other than the Civic Club? That is an area that was frequented by some of our unhoused. You know, is there any concern of surveillance around that to protect this type of structure being placed there to ensure, like Councilwoman Ross said, that you know, it's just not going to fall apart and things of that nature? So, is there any plans for surveillance other than what are other measures of security do you have in place?
Another excellent question. I was actually in the front part for both of the riots that, as we all know, happened. So strange to come through that. That is something that Parks and Rec would have to answer, because ultimately this is them. It would be them, and it is going to put a burden on them to, you know, kind of protect, police, put up cameras, can, you know, make sure the maintenance is proper and timely.
And that's okay. We can revisit it if we do get successful getting the grant. We can revisit all of those things. So at this start, I would just ask that and put that out there in the atmosphere.
It's a great question.
All right, no further questions. Thank you.
Thank you. And Councilwoman Davis, you had another question?
Yes, thank you, Vice President Green. Just one more. I just came to the top of my head. Will this structure cost the city any additional monies in, say, like flood insurance or any insurance additional? I'm just curious.
It's so funny.
Because it is a structure. I know all the housing and all the buildings down there, people have to pay, well, flood insurance. So I didn't know if this would cost the city.
I don't know if it would cost flood insurance. I don't know that that would be a significant issue there. It would be bundled in because we bundle our structures into one insurance policy. One thing that comes to thought of what it would do is right now it's a green space. So it would become something subject to stormwater management fees for square footage for impervious surface, depending how they did it. I guess if there was a green roof, that would offset it. But you know, but that's the only thing that comes to mind is what would the additional expense be? But the reality is there's nothing that you put up that's not going to cost you more money. It just that's simply the reality.
Thank you. No further questions.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? I don't have any questions following the ones of my colleagues. So I will recommend this for a vote, because I guess we'll be voting on it tonight. So I'd recommend this for a vote. So thank you very much for being here tonight.
Always happy.
Okay, thank you. I'll entertain a motion to resume our legislative session. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. So we are returning to our legislative session. Before us, we have Resolution 48 of 2024. Mr. Truesdale, could you read it one more time, please?
Resolution 48, 2024, a resolution ratifying the submission of a grant application to the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development's Greenways, Trails, and Recreation Program for $117,228 for the purpose of constructing a multi-purpose pavilion in Riverfront Park.
Thank you. Council members, are there any questions, comments, or concerns related to Resolution 48 of 2024? Okay, seeing and hearing none, Mr. Truesdale, could you please call the vote?
Ms. Daniels,
Yes.
Ms. Davis,
Yes.
Ms. Green,
Yes.
Mr. Jones,
Yay.
Ms. Rawls,
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Ms. Bowers.
Yes.
Resolution 48, 2024 passes by a vote of 7-0.
Thank you. You're welcome. Next, we have Resolution 49 of 2024. Mr. Truesdale, could you please read it into the record?
Resolution 49, 2024, a resolution appointing Connie Ziegler to serve on the Harrisburg Architectural Review Board of the City of Harrisburg.
Thank you. Resolution 49 of 2024 will move to the Administration Committee. Next, we have Resolution 50 of 2024. Mr. Truesdale, could you please read it into the record?
Resolution 50, 2024, a resolution authorizing the City of Harrisburg to negotiate and enter into a professional services agreement with Murphy and Dittenhafer Architects to serve as the architect/engineer firm for the restoration, rehabilitation, and reconstruction of the Broad Street Market's red brick building.
Thank you. Resolution 50 of 2024 will move to the Parks, Recreation, and Enrichment Committee. Next, we have Resolution 51 of 2024. Mr. Truesdale, could you please read it into the record?
Resolution 51, 2024, a resolution authorizing the City of Harrisburg to negotiate and enter into a professional services agreement with Marsh Claims Solutions, Forensic Accounting, and Claims Services to provide insurance claim accounting services to measure and document the revenue and property damage loss of the Broad Street Market's red brick building.
Thank you. Resolution 51 of 2024 will move to the Parks, Recreation, and Enrichment Committee. Next, we have Resolution 52 of 2024. Mr. Truesdale, could you please read it into the record?
Resolution 52, 2024, a resolution authorizing the City of Harrisburg to negotiate and enter into a professional services contract with State Street Strategies, LLC, doing business as OnePlus Strategies, for strategic guidance and intelligence gathering for lobbying-related services.
Thank you. Resolution 52 of 2024 will move to the Administration Committee. Our final resolution this evening is Resolution 53 of 2024. Mr. Truesdale, could you please read it into the record?
Resolution 53, 2024, a resolution approving the fifth proposed 2024 budget reallocation, confirming and otherwise clarifying the intended designation of revenue replacement funds under the American Rescue Plan Act as being attributed to public safety purposes under the general fund, and further confirming the award of certain available general fund program dollars to 2 local organizations to provide services for bridge housing.
Thank you. Resolution 53 of 2024 will move to the Budget and Finance Committee. Is there any old business, council members? Okay, seeing and hearing none. New business, Councilman Jones?
Yes, thank you, President Bowers. I just want to make a public statement about what happened with the neo-Nazi group. And I believe I can speak for my colleagues when I say this, that we definitely condemn this type of behavior. This was a very strange incident. We did not know that this was taking place, so of course there were no permits filed that we were aware of to be able to be prepared for this. And some of the issues that we're dealing with is like our First Amendment rights. They have a right to speak and walk and say the things that they need. However, we definitely condemn this type of behavior with this group and any other group that wants to come into the city of Harrisburg and spew this type of rhetoric in our communities. I think it's dangerous, and I think this is a time too that we can prepare our communities if anything like this is to happen again, that we keep all lines of communications open and making sure that we're reaching out to the proper authorities and make sure that everyone's eyes are on this, and so we can make sure that we can keep our community safe. So again, I just wanted to make a statement that we definitely condemn this type of behavior in our city, and it should not be tolerated. That's it.
Thank you, Councilman Jones. Councilwoman Rawls?
Yes, thank you. And thank you, Councilman Jones, for your statement. Well, my computer's not working right now to pull up what I was going to say, but I wanted to remind everybody there was a sip and paint event happening in the city at Italian Lake. And my computer froze, so I apologize. I can't give you the date, but I hope everyone comes out. It sounds like a great event. For more information, please go to the Harrisburg City Government website and look under Parks and Rec. And there are so many flyers with so many events going on. But I know there's a paint and sip event happening in September. I think it's September 9th. So just please go on our website, look at all the events coming up, especially the paint and sip one. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Rawls. I have a few notes for new business, so please, again, bear with me. The first, we received a vacancy status report from the Bureau of Human Resources. It is dated August 22nd, 2024. I will share my screen just to review it. As you all may be aware, we've had some major positions vacated over the past few months and over the summer, so I just wanted to make sure everybody was clear on where we stood with our complement. Okay. So first, can everybody see that? I don't know how to make it like a full screen. Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay. Thank you, Emily. Okay. So first we have the Office of the Mayor, the Business Administrator. The role was vacated June 7th, 2024. The status, the Bureau of Human Resources is currently accepting applications and resumes. Interviews are in progress. And the deadline date is, the position will be open until filled. Next, the Office of Communications, an atrium receptionist. This role was vacated on June 16th, 2024. The current status, they are accepting applications and resumes. Interviews are to be scheduled, and the deadline is open until filled. Next, we have the Department of Finance, the Finance Director. The role was vacated on August 3rd, 2024. The current status, accepting applications and resumes, interviews in progress, and the deadline is open until filled. Next, we have the Department of Community and Economic Development Director, and the current status is it's being filled by an interim director, and it is open until permanently filled. Yes, just a reminder for everyone, the director of the Department of Building and Housing has a dual role, and she also serves as the director of the Department of Community and Economic Development. The Office of the City Solicitor, there are 2 vacancies. One, confidential legal secretary. The role was vacated on March 22nd, 2024. And the assistant city solicitor, mainly for collections. The role was vacated on March 25th, 2024. Both roles are currently accepting applications and resumes. And the Assistant City Clerk for Collections, there are interviews in progress. Both positions are open until filled. Next, the Bureau of Planning. The role is the Deputy Director of Planning. The role was vacated on February 2nd, 2024. The status, they are currently accepting applications and resumes, and they've noted that it is hard to fill. It has been re-advertised on multiple websites, but it is open until filled. Also under the Bureau of Planning is the Historic Preservationist. A candidate has been selected. An offer is pending receipt of requested documentation. Bureau of Police, this is non-uniformed. Management, the Director of Community Relations and Engagement, the role was vacated on August 12th, 2024. The current status, they are accepting applications and resumes. The deadline, interviews are in progress, but the role is open until filled. Next, under the Bureau of Police is ASME Bargaining Unit, Codes Enforcement Officer 1. The role was vacated on July 29th, 2024. The current status, applications and resumes are being accepted. The deadline, interviews are in progress, but the role will be open until filled. Also, under the Bureau of Police, Parking Enforcement Officer, there are 2 positions. One was vacated April 14th, 2024. The second was vacated June 30th, 2024. Candidates have been selected. Second interviews for finalists to be scheduled. Public Works, Management, Sustainability Coordinator, the role was vacated on August 23rd, 2024. The current status, they are accepting applications and resumes. An advertisement was placed on August 20th, 2024, but the role is open until filled. Next, ASME Bargaining Unit, Highway Demolition Specialist 1, the role was vacated on June 3rd, 2024. The current status, they are accepting applications and resumes. There is a second position here, Heavy Equipment Operator. The role was vacated on July 26, 2024. The current status, applications and resumes are being accepted. For the Demolition Specialist 1, interviews are in progress, but the role will be open until filled. And the Heavy Equipment Operator, interviews are also in progress, and the role will be open until filled. Still under Public Works here. The Vehicle Maintenance, Auto Mechanics 1 and 2, applications and resumes are being accepted. This is also, these roles are also noted as difficult to fill. However, interviews are in process, and the positions will be open until filled. And finally, Parks Maintenance, a Crew Leader 1 role was vacated on August 12th, 2024. The current status, it's posted for internal bidders only, and the deadline for application was August 23rd, 2024. I'm assuming so, yes. So I just wanted everyone to be clear on where we stood with vacancies, particularly around some of the larger roles. 2 more things and then we'll be finished. Next, please note the quarterly reports for the second quarter that have been received to date can be found on the city's website on eCodes under 2024 miscellaneous meeting materials, and it's there is a subsection 2024 quarterly reports for your review. And finally, Harrisburg City Council will host a policy work session regarding home ownership tomorrow, Wednesday, August 28th, 2024 at 5:30 p.m. So we hope you can join us or listen in. Is there any other new business, council members? Okay, seeing and hearing none, the time is 6:54 p.m. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I second that.
Thank you. We stand adjourned.